Hey guys, I just thought that I'd let you know before the episode starts that my recording screwed up this week and nothing got recorded from my side. Everything else on Jay and Wes and Brad's side recorded fine, but just thought I'd give you guys the heads up. So there's going to be a bunch of gaps where I'm talking that you won't be able to hear anything, and some comments from the guys replying to stuff that I say that's not going to make sense, but I thought it would be better to let you guys know and give you guys the episode instead of just scrapping it all together. So here is the episode.
I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
Smacking dudes with his 18-inch meat stick.
I'm going to go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's going to happen on Saturday.
Happy holidays and happy new year to our Fight Podcast fans. We are back for another episode of the MMA Analysis episode. Yeah, I lost track what number we are. I'm joined by our two usual suspects at these times. I'll start off first with the Kentucky Sodsman, Wes Colvin. I hear there's a big college basketball game tomorrow. What are you going to be doing with that? Are you going?
There's no, I don't. You're looking at thousands to get into that game usually, but
Thousands for a regular season game? Jesus.
This is I would argue I get the puke North Carolina argument, but I don't think people realize how big this game and rivalry is around these parts. That game is tomorrow, Friday at 1:00, and this entire state will pretty much be shut down on a Friday afternoon for that game. Yeah, it's going to be a good one this year, I think, man. Kentucky's they're pretty young this year, man. They're still not hitting it all together yet, and I think David Pageant's done a pretty good job replacing Prick Pitino, the restaurant floor banger and 3-second man is what we call him around here now. But yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm seeing some totals pop up at like minus 145, and if you see a minus 145, I'd play the under tomorrow. Game's always usually in the 60s, and it's usually always decided by just a few points. So should be a good one, man.
And joining us from the Great White North, New Sean. How much snow is on the ground up there?
colder than Antarctica or something, right?
Oh, that's very good. Why are you moving on that's a weird day to move. The 29th? Oh, okay. Are you staying in town?
Is the teenager making the jump and moving in with a companion?
Companion?
I was getting ready to say, man, you're just about to turn 20 and all, might not want to be moving in with yeah.
No chance.
Yeah. Crush that every year.
Oh, that's good to know. I hear you're having a birthday too. I mean, what are you turning, 17? Are you gonna be the youngest ranking MMA journalist if you decide to go into journalism? Youngest ranking Canadian journalist?
Yeah, there's like
But I can understand you speak, so you got that going for you. Got a few things to touch on before we get to the big a semi-big UFC 219 card. First thing, just some house cleaning. We'll briefly touch on the UFC on Fox event, specifically the main event from a couple weeks ago. This is our first show since before the holidays. Rafael dos Anjos and Robbie Lawler. Wes, how impressed were you with Rafael dos Anjos' move? Now he's up to welterweight and seems extremely viable there, and he dominated this fight with Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, I do think Robbie is on the back end of his career, but I mean to move up and fight, just a guy that was champ a year and a half ago. Man, I think Dos Anjos he's honestly still one of the most underrated guys in the UFC. The guys he's fought he's literally top 5 guy almost every time out. I mean, he did get, Magny on the move up, but yeah, man, the dude's, he's got it all. And I know there was a little, talk out there with the whole, when the USADA shit came in, and I think he had lost a couple, and I saw a couple people saying that, oh yeah, he's one of those guys that got, ain't on that good stuff anymore. And I mean, he's still rolling, man, and just his skill set it's unbelievable, man. I mean, he's pretty much you say all around MMA fighter, and he's got it, man. That when he was working Robbie's body, just the combos he was throwing and mixing it up to the body. I mean, you don't see guys strike on Robbie like that. I don't care what part of his career he's in. That was impressive, man. And I mean, he's legit at 170. I would take him over Woodley tomorrow. I mean, you give me something around even money on RDA against Woodley, I'd take that in a heartbeat. He's going to be a problem for almost anybody at 170, man. Does he get the next shot? I'm not so sure. Who knows when Woodley even fights again, honestly. He's talking about getting surgery now and shit. So he got it. But I mean, I tell you what, a shitbag wants to run his mouth constantly, and he turns down fights. Feed Kobe Covington to RDA, and let's see if he don't want to fight Usman. He talks about people running from him, but he's running from the god Usman. We all know that now. Give him RDA. I'd love to see RDA fucking smash him around the cage. Yeah, that's give me that fight. If it's not Woodley next, I know a lot, and I think Covington's good. I'm not taking that away from him. He's a good fighter. We got some serious believers on the Covington train. Give him RDA. Let's see where he's at. If not, RDA deserves to fight for a title, in my opinion. I mean, just his entire resume, and I mean, what else is there at 170? I mean, there's just a few guys. All that, I think Usman is the champ in that division eventually.
Hello, boys.
Oh, shit.
Woo. That's what I was going for. I had to wrap it around into my asshole and get some farts going. But yeah, that was the only way I knew how to join the podcast.
I mean, you snowed in with 2 feet of snow up there. Reason you're blessing us tonight?
I'm still on vacation.
Shit!
I'm back home. I'm not in the DR anymore. So I figured I would make an appearance, even though I haven't looked at this card. So I don't know what's going on in this card. The only thing I heard is that Johnny fucking Lineker is not on this card anymore, which is just all of the sadness.
It is sad. I'll agree with that.
Johnny fucking Lineker said he would rather get punched in the face than have his wisdom teeth taken out. That's a gangster right there.
Oh man, yeah. So, boys,
we can talk about that. So how do y'all feel about how Jimmy Rivera kind of played that on Twitter for the past week with him and like And apparently the whole Moraes thing with them on Twitter and him taking the fight ended up being Ali tweeting half that shit and being a fucking scumbag like he usually is.
Ali tweets for a lot of people. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, if you don't speak perfect English, I think that it's in his contract that he gets control of your Twitter accounts. You know, even though he speaks worse English than all of his.
Yeah, what about Frankie though? Like,
Frankie's from Jersey. Of course, you listen to J Talk, right? That doesn't count as English. Holy shit!
Watch your mouth.
Don't worry, Jay. You hear my shit. There's a whole nother language down these parts, dude.
Yeah, there's no denying that.
Yeah. Even if it was Moraes, though, like, why were people expecting him to take a fight, like, on a week's notice at, like, 140 or 145 a couple weeks after fighting? I don't care, like, how quick he knocked Sterling out. He still had to train, make that cut, do all that shit. I see people blaming Moraes for that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it on him to take a week's fight? Well, he said it, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Wes, I think the big thing is that MMA fans who have never cut weight before, they do not understand how much that takes out of you. Like, after you cut weight and you do any sort of physical activity, wrestling tournament, jiu-jitsu, MMA fight, boxing, whatever, like, you can push through it for the day. After that, you're, like, if you have a real weight cut like these guys do, you're so fucking drained that you can't do it. It's crazy.
And he's got a serious weight cut. Like, that dude has a serious cut. And besides that, like, would you really want to put it on the line against, I mean, you could argue for a title shot, the winner of these two. Would you really want to put that on the line?
With no preparation?
Yeah, 2 weeks after fighting it, and it ain't the time in the cage or the damage. Like you said, these are like legit high-level athletes making serious cuts. I mean, I wasn't faulting him, but yeah, at the end, you could tell that was shitbag Ali. Pulling that shit for sure.
Absolutely. Oh well, it'll happen eventually because who is Rivera not on this card at all now? Like,
No.
I seriously haven't looked at it. Okay,
I like Rivera too, man. I think that kid's legit. I would have loved to seen that fight. Don't get me wrong.
I think I was getting confused because Tim Elliott was bitching a whole bunch about this card too, right? And like having a bunch of different opponents, and he didn't want to go up and wait to fight somebody.
That was a different card, but then he got moved to this card. Winnipeg card, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, one got injured, one didn't make weight, and then
Elliott said he wasn't going to fight, and they was like talking about not paying him and shit.
Yeah,
like holy fuck.
And now he's fighting a guy. This guy, I'm pretty sure it's the same dude who literally didn't show up to, like, he weighed in and then he didn't show up to his legacy title fight the night of the fight.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, and
that was one of the weirdest things because he was supposed to fight that Peterson dude who was on the Contender Series, the guy that took, the ridiculous beating, and yeah, he weighed in, he made weight, it was for the title, and then he just no-showed. It was the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen.
That's good.
But whatever. MMA, crazy shit.
And you sign with the UFC, and we'll give you Tim Elliott.
Yep. Well, he's married to one of the chicks that was on the
Montana
Tough Series.
Yeah.
Anyways, I got you guys completely off track.
No, that's fine. We welcome the four horsemen.
Ooh.
Yeah, Nushan, tell us a little more about that. Could you imagine if somebody just tuned in for the first time and had no idea what the hell we were talking about? And we're talking about Bang Bus. Dana says, or Bang Bus calls Dana White Satan. More news at 11.
Oh, man.
He said,
Do you see?
That's a real bad example to go with. Like, you couldn't think of any other dictators in the history of humanity than Hitler. I mean,
why couldn't I say Pol Pot?
Oh man, MMA. I love this sport, man.
he said Herb was gambling on the fights and throwing fights.
Wow. So he really doesn't want to fight in the UFC ever again, huh?
It's the most exciting shit he's done in the UFC since he got in the UFC. Was his
Yep.
Man.
Do you see who the first person was to respond to Bang Bus? Yeah, former Toutmaster Kyle Marley.
He got blocked like immediately. Then later, Kyle like posted a screenshot of him being blocked, and he's like, "Was it something I said?" Like, yeah, probably just a little bit.
Oh man, glad to see the listeners still holding it down in my absence.
Yeah, getting banned by a fighter is a darn privilege. We've all had our fair shares.
Rite of passage.
We've all had our fair share.
Don't say their gym is shitty or their coaches get fighters killed, because then you'll be in like a 3-hour long Twitter argument. And you know you'll eventually get, if I ever see you, it's on, motherfucker.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, that's usually their closing line. Let me ever catch you, dude.
Yeah, they don't know what I look like, and they never will.
I mean,
good shit.
Yeah.
Like Brad said, MMA. You gotta love this shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
That shit is great, dude.
Man, what are we doing here?
Like, look, I said earlier, I enjoy Risen, man. I'm old school pride guy and shit. But, like, that is a train wreck of, like, Bob Sapp proportion. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, like, last time out, she fought, like, 165-pound, 50-year-old, too. Beat the shit out of her, dude, you know? Like, holy fuck,
that fight was awesome, because the chick just started running the ropes at the beginning, and then she basically, like, clotheslined her.
And killed her, dude, like a train.
Oh, yeah.
And man, like Risen's got some good shit going on too, man. You get In McCall and Horiguchi, they're having the tournament, the 8-man tournament shit. They have good fighters, man, and good fights, and then they just
ridiculous shit.
Yeah, Japan, they got like $8 million. It's fine. They got enough money for this nonsense.
Put it this way: what are you more interested in watching? Gabby Garcia beat the shit out of some 8,000-year-old Japanese pro wrestler, or whatever the third fight is on UFC 219.
Yeah, Montana Stewart against fucking some
exactly
chick. Yeah,
Like, that
Yep.
shit's supposed to be on regional cards, and if you want to watch it, you can watch it, and put the good fights in the UFC. And if you're not going to put on good fights, put on something people want to watch.
MMA was so much better, like 10, 15 years ago, man. Like, it was, people want this shit to be like some stick and ball sport type shit. Yeah, they just want it too much, like, of a quote unquote sport too much. Like, it is what it is, man. It's still like a fucking fight.
Yep.
Give us some entertainment around it and shit. It's fine. Like, it doesn't have to be like it's serious all the fucking time,
Well, the weird thing is, like, I think we all know that MMA and the fighters are objectively better, way better now than they've ever been. But that doesn't mean it exactly. That doesn't mean it's interesting.
It's actually made it to be like,
the talent's better.
75% of it is so much more boring now because you literally get fighter like UFC video game fighter skin A against fighter skin B, and they're both the same dude. They go in there and hold on to each other for 15 minutes, and you go on to the next one. That shit sucks,
There's less mismatches, I guess. There's the guys that are more prepared.
Yeah. They all are. Like, you're like lowest level, like 155 guy now wrecks most dudes back in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? But is that fun?
Yeah.
Is it fun now? Give me a little risen every now and then. I'm cool with that.
Absolutely. When's that starting? Like 3 a.m.?
Yeah, they got 2 nights of it too.
Yeah. Cool.
There's some good fights tonight. Got lines. Nick gave us some lines.
Yeah, I see that.
Keep it a little interesting.
Yeah, what
just
are we doing
pulled
here?
Up some
we got lines.
I just sprinkled on the dogs. I think a couple of them go now.
Well, you don't think Ian McCall's gonna beat this Portuguese guy that nobody's ever heard of?
Yeah, he should, but
Can Ian McCall use both his hands, or is he still one paralyzed to his side?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah,
this guy who beat up Kid Yamamoto's son or whatever, brother or whatever.
Wait, Kid Yamamoto's son. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Are we at that point in Met A?
No, I think it's Kid Yamamoto's older sister's son. So his nephew or something like that?
Yeah, something like it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm trying to think what son, like father-son combinations do we have? We have Randy Couture's kid, and we have Kimbo
Lee and
Slice's
Jordan
kid.
Meehan.
You got your boy's kid in Bellator.
Yeah, AJ McKee and Antonio McKee.
Yep.
Mm. Yeah, so I'm saying Kimbo's kid.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else? So we're gonna have to start keeping a list of these guys, and none of them have yet. Well, maybe McKee has.
Dude.
None of the others have surpassed their fathers yet.
Frank Mir a couple weeks ago posted a pic of his daughter training kickboxing, dude, and I was like, "Holy fuck, man! I'm getting like seriously old." Frank Mir's daughter.
Kid?
Yeah, Frank Mir's
How old's Frank
daughter.
Mir's kid?
She's a teenager. She's like 16,
Jesus.
17 years old. Yeah.
Whatever happened to Melvin Manhoff's kid? Remember the videos of him hitting pads when he was like 6 years old?
He's just tremendous.
Yeah. That was like he's got to be getting to the age where he could fight, right?
I mean, in Europe too. Shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So they're letting that Gabby fight go on. Holy shit!
Yeah.
This is gonna be excellent.
What is the line on this dumbass arbitrage?
I don't think they line that.
There is no line.
They threw one up at Sportbook.
20-1 seems fair to me.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
If it's not a work, how does she not win?
Gabby don't work. Gabby kills bitches, dude.
She might in this fight.
Yep.
Is there a 5% shot of that happening? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
That's fine. I can't say I disagree with that.
I just pulled up a video of Manhoff's kid in junior kickboxing bout, and he's knocked the kid down like 4 times in the first 30 seconds. Good stuff. Oh, shit. Yeah, exactly. Probably stick to kickboxing. Anyways, what were you guys talking about before I jumped in here?
Weird.
Oh, shit, yeah.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah. I think Woodley could wrestle him for a round or two, but then what does he do after that?
Yep. Threw a ton of volume. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's he could put enough pressure on Woodley to do the same sort of thing that Rory did to him. I could see that fight playing out pretty similar. So, yeah, exactly. But you mean Santiago Ponzinibbio isn't getting the shot that he asked
Ponzi
for?
scheme.
Hey, he got the money there, but man, yeah.
Are they gonna do Ponzi scheme until?
That'd be all right.
I've heard of worse fights.
Man, I think I'm not a Till believer either, but the way Ponzi looked, man, I don't know. I think he was he was a little gunshot, but man, is Perry's power that big? Like Joe Ban took a lot of it. I mean, it seemed like every time he touched Pontoon, he fucking like just got scared to death and started running. You know? Yeah, I'm still not I don't see how beating a pretty much washed up and dude didn't want to be our cowboy gets like all this, like people talking Till being a champ and shit. I'm like, are y'all serious?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Slow down a little bit. Holy fuck.
Yep. But welterweight's interesting.
I think the newer MMA fans, when a guy comes along that is like from this little time frame, newer MMA fans want to be fans of those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, they saw it happen once with Conor. And
that's the first like big time you saw it. Conor and everybody was just. Yeah, I think it's kind of that way with a lot of guys now. You can see with the Till train, like immediately they're like, doom.
Yeah, that doesn't happen with many guys where they just have that continuous rise to the top.
No.
So he'll hit his bumps in the road, and you can look back at all the people that we've probably said, oh man, this guy could be a future champ, or like this guy's a great prospect, and how many of them actually even ended up being top 5 fighters, right?
Yep.
So,
it's a
like
rough game.
Rory McDonald, perfect example. The guy was supposed to like take over the welterweight division for the next 10 years, and not even in the UFC anymore.
I'm not gonna fight GSP. I'm gonna wait till GSP. I'll get that belt and have it for 10 years. He's in Bellator.
I had to think about what I'd see them in that tournament.
I wonder who the alternate who is going to be that wins the tournament.
Yeah, he would 100% beat Chael.
Rampage should smash Chael.
Chael is I might do an article over at Oddsbreakers seeding the 8-man tournament. I gotta think about it though. I'm pretty sure Chael would be my 8 seed though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there is. Man. Yeah.
Well, and it's playing out over how many events? Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it's like prime for the strike force when for an alternate to come in somewhere in there and win the fucking thing. Yeah, you're probably
valid.
right.
With the new
Yeah.
TV channel and whatever they're doing.
They got rid of Jimmy Smith today. That was pretty surprising.
Oh wow,
I
really?
would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
They
true.
said that they said UFC's interested. He'll probably get signed by the UFC.
Of course the UFC is interested. Why wouldn't they be interested?
Because
Bingo bango.
they use those studio and announcer positions kind of as like almost bargaining chips, I think, with some of their top guys. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Couple extra jobs, get you some extra money, sign this contract. You know what I'm saying? I think that's how the UFC uses that now. But that's a hard guy not to get in there and give. I mean, he's going to be better than those fucking vanilla fucking fucks they've been putting on. Like, who are these? Yeah, who are these white dudes from here? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I'd take Jimmy Smith over any one of those.
Oh.
If one MMA fighter was smart, they would learn how to do play-by-play. Like, they would go and take classes on it because they're all color guys. And what MMA needs is play-by-play
in
guys.
all their sports, like none of the athletes are really doing play-by-play. Like very few.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
because they usually have professionals that do that. Although Pat Summerall, I think, is the only one I could think of. The long-time John Madden connector. You know, John Madden, the other guy, he was a long-time punter in the NFL, and I think he's one of the best. But play-by-play. So yeah, it's a rare thing to do play-by-play, but yeah, absolutely. You could definitely, if someone did, they could have a job for like the next 10 or 15 years.
Did Pat Summerall ever do a dance after a punt like Marquette King? No, Jay.
I don't know what that means.
You've never seen Marquette King, the punter, the black punter for the
the
Raiders?
Oh, that guy! I didn't know.
That guy's awesome.
Knew his name.
That guy's like my favorite player in the NFL right now.
Who doesn't love punters? Punting's a great gig. It's such a specialization.
Yep.
Yeah, you can be a multi-millionaire.
It's all numbers.
Yeah, if you can punt the ball like 50 yards on average, you can get paid multi-million dollars.
Kicking and punting, man. Kicking and punting.
Yeah.
Specialty.
It's all the
Good
same.
gig.
Same ball, same field, same uprights. You just got to be able to do it.
Yeah, it's wild, ain't it?
Yeah, especially the kicking part. Oh God, it's pathetic.
Guys like miss one or two and literally can run their entire careers. It's insane.
I don't think they really know how to project it. It's hard. Project success.
Almost like
it's crazy.
Pressure is totally different. Okay, you're kicking in high school in front of 1,000 people, then all of a sudden you're kicking in front of 50,000 people. Like, yeah, it's a pretty difficult thing. I mean, yeah.
True. Did you guys do any year-end stuff at all?
Not this stuff.
Just in case something crazy happens on this card?
I got close. Motherfuckers.
I thought Brad had some bizarro prediction for one of the weight classes that's
for women's featherweight. I said that nobody was going to be champ. they were just going to cancel the division. Hey man, it almost happened after After Durandamy and all that shit, it almost happened. You got to do some wacky shit.
I don't know what we had. Do we have that list somewhere? Oh, yeah. We'll look at that. Next week. Next week.
Nice.
Brad, you going to be able to join again moving forward? Or is this, are you like Kentucky basketball? Are you one and done?
I'm one and done, baby.
Wow.
No, I'll see what I can do in terms of getting on next week, but yeah, still on the same schedule at work, so just vacation worked out for this show.
Mm-hmm. I say that's probably a good idea.
It's only 10 fights. Not bad.
That's a nice thing. I guess we'll start with Wes. First fight on the card, Tim Elliott, former title challenger Tim Elliott, taking on Montana Stewart's husband, Mark De La Rosa. Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I've seen a little of De La Rosa. He's fought on some of the lower organizations that Dave. Shit. Hold on, sorry.
And there's other cards too. RXO.
No. Yeah, oh, no, hold up. I was looking at my wrong notes. Hold up. Yeah. No, this ain't even the same. No, I haven't seen much of De La Rosa, actually. Yeah, this is still a pretty tough fight, I would think, for his UFC debut. I know Brad's got a pretty good story about him fighting in LFC, I believe, so I'll let him tell that. But, yeah, I don't know much of what to think of him in this fight. I would still think that Tim Elliott's going to be a pretty tough out for a guy in his UFC debut. The line looks pretty low on Elliott, but, man, I don't know. Elliott's just kind of – I don't know about him lately, man. He fought one of the best fights I've ever seen him fight against Mighty Mouse, and he was in a lot of trouble against Smoka a couple times, and then, man, the Ben Wynn submission on him. He's just he's so wild, man, and he gets into bad spots and gets caught in a lot of like choke attempts, man. He gets out of a lot of them, but man, he gets into a lot of them. So I don't know if you can bet him here. The line is just, it seems low as hell to me, even at 220 against a debuting guy that's never fought at this level. I'm still thinking about putting Elliott in a parlay, but it gives me a little worry just the way he's looked lately.
New Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Bradley.
Yeah, and I already talked about De La Rosa no showing for that legacy fight. That was just a weird thing that happened.
What was the reason for that? Did anyone ever say?
I think he had like some sort of family issue, but he didn't tell anybody. He just fucking peaced out. But I can't remember. I'd have to go back and watch that legacy card because I think that Pat Miletich like ripped into him a little bit on the card, which was pretty awesome, if I recall. But yeah, that was just a strange thing. So he's definitely not somebody that I would bet, just knowing that something like that has happened to him before. So mentally, you have to wonder, if the going gets tough in a fight, is he just going to pack his shit up and go home, or is he actually going to fight through it? But as far as the actual fight goes, De La Rosa is a pretty decent grappler. even though Elliott got submitted quick in his last fight, I think it takes more than just a pretty decent grappler to put him away. So I think Elliott gets takedowns. We get a little bit of scrambling, but he stays on top and just sort of pours on ground and pounds. Don't think size is going to be an issue here. I think Elliott's a pretty massive 125er, so I think it'll be pretty even at 135. And I'm kind of thinking that he's going to get like a second, third round TKO. So the line does seem low to me as well, but not really sure if it's worth betting just given Elliott's recent performances.
Yeah, I have Elliott at a C+ and De La Rosa as a C-. I just did a breakdown on this over for MMA Odds Breaker. That should be up tomorrow, Friday. And you're right there, Wes?
Yeah, this dude for TCU just fumbled away a return touchdown. What an idiot.
Well, there's a flag on the play anyway. Anyway, De La Rosa, I think, definitely has the advantage on the feet. He's got really good footwork, quick hand speed, decent jab, pretty good hook and combination. But I think Elliott's just physicality and his ability to even score takedowns and work in the scrambles, I think is a major factor here. I think just Elliott's experience combined with the physicality of his, just kind of his grappling prowess is going to give De La Rosa problems. De La Rosa could slow down here as well. Just kind of getting pushed around by Elliott. And, I think De La Rosa could be decent. Moving forward, he's still very young, 23 years old. Looks like he has some promise, but I think this could be, a little too much too soon for him. So I'm going to take Tim Elliott here. Lean is towards decision, but no bet for me. Next fight up on the card, televised bout, Mateus Nicolau taking on former Toutmaster competitor Louis Smolka. New Sean. Is he an alcoholic?
Said he quit, yeah.
Uh-huh. Mm. Sodsman.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same with the odds on this fight. But I mean, looking back, I think Smoka's win over Ben Nguyen looks pretty decent now, and the guys he's lost to lately are just some of the better dudes in the division. I think the drinking thing might be kind of a big deal if he was if it's true and. He was constantly drinking and shit, and gave it up. But, who knows there. At plus 275 though, at what I got him, and I gotta take a little shot here on Smoke. I mean, I like Nicolau. He's a good young fighter. A decent win over Moraga, but that was a really close fight. Besides that, I mean, what do we really know yet? Plus 275 is worth it to see for me. So, yeah, I don't mind cheering for Smoka. Plus 275. I'll take a little shot. Smoka by decision.
Bradley.
Are people really that impressed by Nicolau's 2-year-old win over John Moraga that he's, now he's like, what, minus 235?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But but that he got up to over 300 in this fight, like that seems a little crazy to me. I remember watching that fight, and it was just kind of a whole lot of not much happening. He landed a bit more than Moraga in every round, and I think he was on top at one point in the fight. So it's weird. Against a guy that's low volume like Moraga, that's a fight that suits his style. I think a guy that's much higher volume in Smolka and is probably going to force this into a grappling match, I think it's going to be a much different fight. And if they do start to grapple, I think we've seen a whole lot more from Smolka in that realm than we've seen from Nicolau. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Smolka be able to win some scrambles, get on top, and maybe snatch something up here. He's got those crazy-ass limbs where he can get some weird chokes, but even if that doesn't happen, he always stays moving, and he's pretty good with his own ground and pound once he gets on top. So an aggressive guy like that at a big line, and the one that I'm looking at, Smolka by sub at plus 855, that's probably something I'll take a little shot at, because I think he's got a chance, pretty decent chance in this fight.
I got Nicolau a C+, Smolka a C. Smolka is certainly, I think, more dynamic, but Nicolau is steady and consistent, and I think Nicolau ultimately wins this fight. Just being a better striker and just fighting more consistent, taking less risks. And Smolka, he certainly has some talent, but is sloppy and obviously hasn't had, has been on kind of a poor run of form. So I'm going to go with Nicolau here. The odds are definitely a little more than I thought they would, they're where I thought they would be, but I still think Nicolau wins. I just can't trust myself with Smolka in this case. Moving on up the fight card, we got Omari Akhmedov, I believe, a Dagestani, if I remember correctly. Yes, he is. Facing off against Marvin Vettori. Italy go? West? Venator.
Yeah, I don't know really what to think of this fight, man. It's just another one where I think the line is a little bit inflated. Omarion is Duke and sing. But I mean, he's a tough out, man, every time. I don't put too much in the Noke win, but that was a decent win against Alisson. I don't know. I just think it's just an inflated line here. Do we really think Vettori's that good with a win over Vitor Miranda? I mean, he got bodied by Shoeface, which a lot of people do. So yeah, man, it's another one that I'm just probably going to take a little shot on Omarion, and I believe I got like plus 220 on him. I have no reasoning behind it. This is just another close fight on this card. I think that's got an inflated line, and take a little shot, be a pick and top master.
Teenager. Okay. Bradley?
Vettori, he's training at King's now? Is that where he's moved to in the U.S.? Or is he still... I know that he was doing that a little bit before, but I think...
I believe that's the case.
If he's training there and we see the improvement that you would expect to see in his striking, working with Rafael Cordero, I think that there's a pretty decent path for him to win this fight. I think generally his takedown defense is there. Obviously, it failed him a little bit against a massive 185er who was really forcing the grappling game in Shoeface, but I think he can stop Akhmedov's takedowns, especially as this gets into the second and third rounds. And if we do see that improvement in his striking, we've seen Akhmedov get slept by fucking Sergio Moraes in the past.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Wouldn't be shocked to see Vettori put something on him and put him away. But even if he doesn't, I think his cardio is going to hold out a little better, and he's probably going to take rounds 2 and 3 to win this fight. So definitely lean Vettori.
Yeah, I do as well. I have Vettori what are my numbers? C- and Akhmedov a D+. Got to remember, Akhmedov is moving up to middleweight for this bout. He's been mainly fighting at welterweight. Akhmedov definitely doesn't have the gas tank Vettori has, but I think there is
bump.
He can bump, but there is a size difference here, and that could create some problems. And I think I just don't think he's used to fighting guys the size of Vettori. So I'm gonna say Vettori wins, but again, the odds are kind of creeping up towards a place where you start to wonder, like if this Akhmedov gets over plus 200, could be time to bite a little bit. It just creeps up out of, just to a price where it shouldn't be. But at current prices, this is a pass for me. Next fight up on the card, we have the return of Miles Jury taking on Rick Glenn in I don't know. Wes, do you care about this fight?
Man, it's just another one where I think that Glenn is a tough out, and the line is just a little bit big. I haven't bet Glenn here. Jury should win, but Glenn's going to be a top master pick because I think it's another close one.
Teenager.
Yeah.
Brad, now that Miles Jury is fighting, we got to talk a little bit about the most underrated season of Tough ever. Just listen to the teams on Tough Live. So it was Cruz and Faber, and the team Cruz was this: Justin Lawrence, Sam Cecilia, Miles Jury, Mike Rio, James Vick, Vink Fischel, Chris Tickle, and Jeremy Larson. Now Team Faber, Ali Quinta, Cristiano Marcelo, Darren Cruikshank, Joe Proctor, Michael Chiesa, Joe Kofer, Andy Ogle, your favorite, Chris Saunders. How good was that season? And then you hear and part of the eliminated fighters, you had Dakota Cochran, one of our friend of the MMA Analysis.
Cochran.
Drew Dober was on there. James Krause, Cody Pfister, Jordan Rinaldi, John Tuck.
A lot of ass play going on in that roster there.
There's a lot of male porn, man.
A lot of ass play.
How many dicks have you seen? Over, under 2.5. Ooh.
Man.
I'd have to think about that.
That's a good season. Yeah.
Yeah. And you could bet on those fights. Those are great.
Yeah. Yeah,
anyway.
I remember, there was underdog money to be made on that live season.
Yeah, Michael Chiesa every fight. That was great. All right, Brad, what do you think about this one?
Glenn and Fury. When you were saying that after we were talking about Jury that we had to go on a little segue there, I thought it was going to be that we had to talk about related Furies and the sadness that's going to be taking over the MMA community shortly.
Brad, are you writing an obituary?
No more blessings.
Is this an obituary?
No, actually, I'm working on the biography.
Oh,
I'm
It's
gonna.
titled "No More Blessings."
seems like something you should be doing.
I'm gonna write the official biography, Jay.
Are you gonna post it on Oddsbreaker?
I'm not sure I'll be able to get the clearance for that. We'll see.
Yeah, that might be a tough.
Not sure how Tony will feel about that.
Yeah, Random House could be. Yeah.
Hey man, I'm going straight to Penguin Books. Penguin Books they've gotten advance for me, and people want to hear the story, man.
I would have thought Scholastic. I would have thought Scholastic would be all over it.
The book sales at school.
I mean, it seems like a childhood classic.
God, I used to love.
Who wouldn't like a rags to riches story?
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, it's perfect.
It's the American dream.
It's like Jeffrey Archer's Cain and Abel. I mean, one grows up rich, one grows up poor, and in the end, they end up being rivals.
From the basement to the 6-bedroom suite. The American dream.
Oh man,
I think that works.
Yeah,
Brad. Next time you're on the show, I hope you update us on your developments in that sector. I think some of our listeners would be very intrigued to read this tale.
Probably sell a few copies.
Chapter 3: Credit cards from the grave.
Oh shit! Oh shit! God damn! He just kicked him in the balls, man.
Anyways, as far as this fight goes, Jury's kind of one of those guys that we were talking about. A prospect who looked great and just never quite got there.
He never fights enough.
Yeah, obviously injuries have certainly not helped his cause, and even when he wasn't injured, he wasn't particularly active. But I think that he's a guy that suffers when he's facing a lot of pressure. But in this case, I think his takedown ability is going to be enough that when Glenn pressures him too much, he'll be able to duck down and get this to the floor. And his top game is really underrated. Not a lot happens with him, but very good at controlling position and staying busy enough to keep the fight down there. So I think Jury probably picks up a decision here as long as he doesn't have too much rust on the old wheels.
Yeah, I got Glenn a C-, Jury a B-, and I'm like Brad. I think this fight ultimately finds itself to the ground where Jury has a sizable advantage. On the feet, Glenn is active enough, even against a good, good defensive striker like Jury to keep it very competitive. But on the ground, it's a big advantage for Jury. He could control a lot of time down there, and that should be enough to get the W. Last fight up on the preliminary card, the dude who's on a tear, Khalil Roundtree, taking on a Polish dude who's looking to finally debut, Mikhail the Candyman Olokandi.
Nice.
I think that's his name. Nice. I can't pronounce it otherwise. Sodsman, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Roundtree he's really come around, man.
Wait, can I ask one question? Does he train at the Performance Institute in Vegas? I think he does, right?
Yeah, I think he's
hanging out in Nagano there, right?
He was at a gym out there. I want to say it was it wasn't Randy's gym. It was a different one, but I think he is training over at the training center.
Not Team One.
No, there's another one out there with
Syndicate.
Yeah, I think it might be that.
I thought he was at the Performance Institute.
Maybe.
But there's another pretty big gym out in Las Vegas. I'm pretty sure he came from that. But yeah, it might. Yeah. But yeah, man. Looking back, I mean, we know Andrew Sanchez. I mean, that was a pretty bad loss in Pedro. But something changed, man. I know after the Jolly fight, he had said that he started taking it seriously, and it looked like it, man. I know a lot of people was picking Craig, the old Bear Jew.
Bear Jew.
I did. I'll admit it.
And I mean that was a pretty good win, man. And this guy, I mean, Roundtree just hits hard, man. He's got really good takedown defense. His clinch game is really good. He bullies guys up against the cage, and I mean, hell, this dude he's fighting, dude, is his last 2 fights. He's in something called Thunderstrike Fight League 11, Slava Republic.
Brad, you ever heard of that one?
And Fight Exclusive Night 17, Baltic Storm. I've literally never, ever.
No, it sounds like another name for a war that we never were part of.
Thunderstrike Fight League 11, Slava Republic 2. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that in my life.
He is a Thunderstrike OG, man.
Thunder.
He fought all the way back on Thunderstrike 4.
Thunder.
That reminds me of fucking in Tropic Thunder. What are the movies that Tug Speedman makes? Like Scorcher or something like that. There's like Scorcher.
Wait, which
17.
character are you talking about? Are you talking about the Tom Cruise's character?
Ben Stiller. No, Ben Stiller.
Oh, Stiller. Oh.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I think Oleg Handy's he's in trouble here, man. Roundtree's he's gonna knock him out first or second round. I got Roundtree in a couple different smaller parlays and gonna play him inside the distance as well.
Thunder.
If he doesn't come out, if he doesn't walk out, they need to cut him immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
Teenager. Do you know what song we were referencing? Oh, all right, good. All right, you're showing your age. Certainly is now
TKO.
The end of days.
Wow.
What is the TKO prop? Do we have it?
Minus 225.
Those are like prime Rousey first round numbers and shit. Man.
Fair. You don't want it. Oh.
Hopefully he gets to the second. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Yeah.
The other Canadian.
Man, I was just really impressed that Oluwakandi, he came back from his canceled fight against Ricardo Noziglia and then fought him again and knocked him out at Fight Exclusive Night 17. I was live for that one, And before that, he picked up the big win over Brazilian Charles Andrade, who is 31-34 in MMA now.
Who? What? Is he?
Let's see what his actual record. 33-30. So he's fought like 6 more times since that fight in April.
You know who's well on his way to a 33-34 record? Artem Flowy Flavov.
Oh yeah, I can see.
What is his record? Is he 14 or something like that?
No, he's gotta be around below 500.
I'm gonna look that up.
He's gonna go to boxing, man. He's gonna fight Paulie.
Do you guys think that that Flavov just kind of coats himself with cocaine off his body? I mean,
whenever somebody at the bar yells body shots,
Flavov's 13 and 14.
Off. He's up on the bar, just waiting for Connor.
You never heard of a body shot? I mean, there's something called a body shot, and then there's whatever Flavov and Connor. And Flavov's 13-14 record, so he's on. Beautiful.
Have you guys seen anything of the Candyman?
Yes.
It's not good.
No.
Like, Also, did you see that his nickname is the Hummer?
Yeah.
Oh God.
He has two.
The Lord Hummer.
He has two nicknames.
Lord Hummer.
Oh wait, I gotta look this up again.
Oh, Michael, the Hummer Candyman, Olokandi. Love it. Super young.
And Lord.
He's got like
Lord Hummer.
He's got a real bad Virgin Mary tattoo.
Ooh.
And he's got
and
he's got some I don't want to say it's Tony Puddin's bod, but
Bradley.
He doesn't look like he should be at 205. I'll just be saying that. So he's gonna get he's a striker too, so he's gonna get bodied in this one. I just kind of hope for New Sean's sake that it doesn't happen in the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, that's fair. I got Roundtree a D plus and the Lord Hummer a D minus. And you can check out a more detailed report. It's already up that I wrote a scouting report at MMAoddsbreaker.com. But just to keep it quick here, he's one of the easiest fighters to hit I've seen in the UFC. He's just keeps everything open. He's been hurt in so many different fights that he's been in. It's amazing that he has as good of a record as he does. I think it's because he recovers well. But
you think that with a nickname like Hummer, he would only keep his mouth open, but he's open everywhere.
Yeah, he's open everywhere. And in terms of Roundtree, some fighters are just technically gifted. And they're able to fight at a consistent basis or on a consistent basis throughout the majority of their career. Other fighters kind of have ups and downs based on confidence. Roundtree seems to be one of those guys. When he's low on confidence, he doesn't fight well, but when he's high on confidence, he looks like he's very good. And he's on one of those confidence kicks currently. He's just run through his last couple opponents, and now he's facing a guy that doesn't have much of a ground game that's super hittable. I mean, this just seems like tailor-made fight for him. A guy coming across over the pond. The fight in the U.S. for the first time, UFC debut against Roundtree, who's been training in Vegas. This just seems like, it's just like a perfect storm. I think he runs through Olowokandi and should win by first round. If not, he's going to get a finish, a knockout. So I like the knockout prop. I think that's kind of an auto bet. A good parlay material for this card. Moving on up to the pay-per-view. I didn't realize they changed the bout order. That's interesting. I don't know why.
No more Johnny fucking Lineker.
And why the fuck is Hooker Daikisi over Carlos Condit and no Magny?
Well, I guess they want to start the card with a bang. I kind of get that. But yeah, so
Hooker Daikisi should be good.
The main card.
Yeah. Should be a good fight.
Just fine. Main card, pay-per-view, UFC 219, the return of the natural-born killer, Carlos Condit, taking on Baby Dick, former host, favorite fighter, Neil Magny. You know what? We'll start with Wes here. What do you think?
Yeah, it's an interesting fight, I think. Just mainly more for the Condit layoff to me and just his last fight out. I don't know. The Maya loss isn't as puzzling to me as like it is, I think, to other people. Like I could have saw that. Not at the quickness that it happened, but I could have visioned that happening, thinking about the fight beforehand. The layoff kind of worries me a little bit more, but man, just on a skill level here, I don't think this is close, man. Neil Magny beating Kevin Gastelum over 5 rounds is still going to be one of the wildest things I think I've ever seen with Gas the way he is now. That's still pretty crazy to me. Neil Magny's always fought over skill level. I'll give him that, man. I mean, we know the legend of old Baby Dick making a fortune off of him over the past few years, but man, if any resemblance of the old, just a couple years ago, Carlos Condit shows up here, I think he trucks Magny. I know there's that chance that, he doesn't, but man, injury aside, Carlos Condit is probably one of the more clean living fighters and athletes, in the sport still. So he takes care of himself tremendously. I think he'll be ready here. I just think at one point he gets Magny down and works him on top of the ground and eventually gets a stoppage here. I play Condit minus 150 pretty heavily. I just like him here, man. If he shows up ready to go, I think he beats Neil Magny. I've just never been high on Magny. I know he's won some fights, but if you look at the guys he's beaten, it's outside of Gastelum. I mean, Eric Silva, Johnny Hendricks washed, Hector Lombard washed. Yeah, I mean, just outside of that Gastelum crazy win, I mean, his wins just ain't impressive. But yeah, Condit for me.
Sean.
Yeah.
It would be.
What do you think Condit would be against Magny after the Robbie fight? What do y'all think the line would be on a fight like that?
-3?
Yeah,
At
more like
least.
350. That's just kind of how I'm looking at it, man. But sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Bradley?
Yeah, this is it's a weird one just because there is no mangier mutt than Neil Mangy. Like the guy, you can put him out, but if you don't put him out, he's not going to stop. And at this point, I don't think there's a question that Magny doesn't have enough in the tank to stop Condit. Condit's going to make it to the end of this fight or perhaps finish Magny, but if Condit doesn't get a finish here, I kind of wonder what this fight looks like. Like, does he still have that sort of killer instinct that he's always had? Is he going to throw the same amount of volume and with the same amount of violence that he's always shown in there? If he does that, I think he wins easily. If he doesn't, then we've got a very competitive fight. So either way, I can't bet Magny. It's just, if I can somehow find a reason to think that Condit's the exact same guy that we saw, back in 2016 and prior to that, or if he's another guy who's past it at this point and focused on life beyond MMA. So probably going to just end up passing this one and then probably going to regret it when Condit does what top fighters do to Magny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I got Condit a B and Magny a C+. Both these guys are kind of workhorses, high volume, so that makes this fight pretty interesting. But just in terms of dynamic ability, and then furthermore opportunistic finishing, Condit's just way higher on the depth chart than Magny is. I mean, is it possible that Condit's just kind of his mind's kind of out of there? I mean, I guess there's that possibility, but if it's not, then Condit really should roll Magny here. He's just, he's just a much higher higher level of, he's able to compete at a much higher, he just has a lot higher ceiling. Let's just put it that way. And again, back to finishing. If there's going to be a finish here, it's going to be Condit. That's just the reality. I haven't bet this yet, but this is definitely one I'm looking at for Saturday. Next fight up is a women's bout. It's former strawweight champion Carla Esparza taking on new flavor of the week, Cynthia Calvillo. Wes?
Yeah, it does seem like Calvillo is the kind of the it thing, but man,
she's so cute and spunky. Don't you just want to put her in your pocket, Wes?
Nah, I just want to turn off the TV,
I know.
cut it back on, and start.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I just think Esparza's just the line's just way out of whack here, man. I could absolutely see Esparza holding her against the cage for a couple rounds, getting a couple takedowns here and there. We know that's how she's going to try to fight this fight. I think she can do that. I think she can steal a couple rounds here. It should absolutely go to a decision, but the over's getting up there a little bit. So I just took a small shot on Esparza, I believe at plus 245. I just think it's another one of these where the line is out, just a little out of whack here. So yeah, Esparza, Talmaster pick, small bet, plus 245.
Nushan, teenager. Really? Oh. Shocker. Why don't I ask?
What'd you get it at? Hell yeah. That's nice. Yeah. Abortion.
Yes. Bradley.
Yeah, and Calvillo's never faced a wrestler as good as Esparza, and Esparza's been able to take down everyone she's fought in the UFC. Even when she got the shit kicked out of her by Joanna, she was able to get a takedown in that fight. So I definitely think that Joanna's got better takedown defense than Calvillo, and if this turns into a grappling match, that's exactly what Esparza's looking for. And Calvillo seems to embrace that type of fight, so it'll be interesting to see if she continues to do that, even when she shouldn't, because even though she's not a great striker, Esparza just looks completely and scared on the feet sometimes. So if Calvillo can keep this standing somehow, I think she could pull it off, but I think she's going to go back to her instincts. This is going to turn into a grappling match, and I give Esparza the edge there. So plus 210, I think it's at right now. I'll take that.
I got both these fighters a B minus. Calvillo definitely, I think, is better on the feet than Esparza, although Esparza has made improvements. Calvillo is definitely the more opportunistic grappler in terms of submission ability. But Esparza, way better offensive wrestler. I don't even think it's even a contest. It's a complete joke. And Esparza definitely should be able to score takedowns in this bout. It's just a matter of, can she avoid being submitted? I think she can. I think she could definitely get a result in this fight. I'm picking her to win, but I'm not super optimistic here in her. She definitely isn't the same fighter that she was when she was champion. Maybe it's confidence. Maybe she's just been exposed a bit. But I think this is a bout that potentially she can win. Moving on up We got Dan Hooker and what's his name? Mark Diakiese. Diakiese, however the hell you say his name.
Mark Diabetes.
Wes, 3 fights left. 3 fights left on the card. Wes, do you think there's a potential for an underdog winner here?
Yeah, this is another one that I think the line just got a little bit off. Hooker's tough, man. He's a tough out for guys. I don't like the Knight loss looking back, but I don't know. There's something about Knight that night, man. He just hasn't really looked the same since. I think that was a really good win for him against Hooker. But man, Diakiese, he's just I don't think he can go 3 here, and Hooker is going to be bringing it for all 3 here. His cardio is pretty good. Don't get me wrong, I think Diakiese could catch him with something, man. He's got some really nice flashy shit, but Hooker's tough, man. He reminds me of Oh yeah. God damn it. Oh, name's slipping me now. Evan Dunham is who he kind of reminds me of, man. Just a worker dude that's going to grind on you and shit. And he's long. I think he's going to have a reach advantage on Diakiese here. So I took a little shot at plus 170. Just another fight on this card that I think is close and the line's a little off. So yeah, top master pick and plus 170.
Teenager, you feel the same way, or are you going with the Englishman?
Yeah.
Bradley.
We might officially be entering the Twilight Zone here because I'm actually going to pick a British guy to win a fight because of his wrestling.
Well, aren't both these guys technically British?
No, one of them is Australian.
Exactly.
They were cast off.
Exactly.
Oh no, he's from New Zealand. It's even less British. Yeah.
But still not known for their wrestling.
No, they're not known for anything. But Jay, why do you have to ruin the point?
Rugby.
I was creating a great narrative here. Fuck. Jesus Christ. You try and make something work, you try and create some art around here, and Jay just comes in and ruins it. Anyways, I think that it's going to be competitive on the feet just because Hooker has more volume. I think Diakiese is the better technical striker. I think he's got more power, but Hooker's going to push forwards. And I think as soon as Diakiese gets uncomfortable with the speed that Hooker's coming at him or the amount of offense that he's getting off, I think that he's going to be able to take this one to the ground. I don't think that he's going to accomplish much there. Hooker's probably going to pop back up eventually, but there's going to be enough time spent on his back that Hooker is going to lose a decision in this one. So I think Diakiese takes it. If he doesn't end up catching Hooker with something real clean on the chin and putting him away, I think he's going to win a decision here.
Yeah, I got both these guys a C-. I think this could be an interesting fight. One is obviously way more dynamic on the feet, and Diakiese definitely the harder hitter, and Flash is certainly a part of his game. But ultimately, what happens here if he can't finish? That's a real tough question. I think Dan Hooker is definitely the more resilient fighter. Definitely, seems to have a more well-rounded skill set at this point. I think there should be lines definitely closer to a pick'em than it is. So I'm going to take Hooker, for a small bet here. At current odds, those are plus 165. In a fight that should be really competitive. I just think Hooker's work rate late in this fight could be the difference. Co-main event.
Jay getting hard.
Guys, my pants are gone. Edson Barboza.
This is a sick
Welcome him back. A dude. A man. A real man. Habib Nurmagomedov. He's back. Well, I shouldn't say that yet.
Yep.
I just got to see him make weight, and then I'll be ready. I'll be excited.
He's good for weight.
I hope so, guys. I really do.
I think they said like 4 pounds off today. So, yeah, I hear you.
Exactly. We'll see. We'll see. We'll start with the Sodsman. Are you excited for the return of Habib?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And and what a fight. I mean, Barboza is right there with one of the best in the world in this division. So not just a return, but just a hell of a fight. Man, I'm still convinced when the guy can make the cage, I still think he's probably the best 155er in the world. Just his skill set is just, it's a motherfucker. We're going to see here, though, is he really that good? Because he's probably taking on one of the guys with the best takedown defense in the division. God damn it, Jay, quit being me.
I'm not sure
Jay's just going ham right now.
Yeah, you're like
you talking about Khabib, he can't help himself.
He's like
can't contain
Pornhub.
That's kind of how it is,
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited for this moment.
I think Barboza has some of the best takedown defense in this division. So we're going to see that Khabib skill set. But I also think that Khabib's his stand up in boxing is starting to get a little underrated at this point. You can see the work that Javier's put in with him out there at AKA. That stand up is definitely better. His boxing is definitely better. I like Khabib here, man. I'm like I said, I'm still convinced when he can make that walk and make it to the cage, he's still got the best skill set to beat guys. So yeah, give me Khabib, and I put him in an open parlay for a few units. I still haven't closed it with anything yet, but I like him in this fight, man. I hope that he makes that walk though. He's got to show up, dude. I mean, the guy would have probably already fought for a title and maybe have a belt around his waist if the guy could actually show up and make weight and make it to the cage. So we'll see.
All right. New Sean, are you going to say nice things about my guy or no? You mean lightweight? Oh, I thought you were making a joke.
The biggest joke is him saying he's going to go to 145.
Wait, I didn't see that quote. I saw the link to the article, but I said this has to be clickbait.
He said it to fight Max.
Could you imagine that?
He's out of his
if you could, I don't know if he's not eating the tiramisu. I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah, just make 155.
Oh, don't you do that. Is it really good, though?
It absolutely is.
Yeah, it's good, dude.
Is it?
Yeah. Nobody.
Who was he faced?
I can't remember.
I would want to take him down. I was actually trying to take him down.
Everybody wants to take him down.
You think Khabib cares? Oh, look this up. Oh.
Jay, his takedown defense overall is 86%, and he's been taken down twice in the last 5 years.
I'm looking who he's fought here. Who's actually tried to take him down? Mm-hmm. Well, Michael Johnson scored a takedown.
Yeah, that was right at the end of that fight when he was gassed.
And I forgot about the Danny Castillo fight. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, Bobby Green wouldn't even try. Paul Felder wouldn't try. Ferguson didn't try. Pettis, I don't think he really tried either. He's not. I mean, who are we talking about here? I mean, I guess Melendez potentially, but we're talking about the ghost of Gilbert. By the goat, yes.
Yeah.
Man. Beeb averages over 6 takedowns a fight, by the way. You're really talking about a fight from 2012?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We're talking about a fight from 2012? Is that when Edson Barbosa got finished by Jamie Varner? Yeah, that's more than that. 7. But yeah.
That's embarrassing. 2012, 7 fights.
It's irrelevant, Brad. It's irrelevant, Brad. He didn't fight for 2 years. What's he going to do?
But the Danny Castillo fight is relevant for Edson Barbosa?
Well, if we're going to go on the same vein, yeah.
Well, then we should note that Castillo got the takedown when he had Barbosa rocked in the first round, and then failed on his other 9 attempts in that fight.
Wes, I'm hearing, what's this rumor about your Monk the God being demoted to the G League? Is that a crime?
Yeah, he went down for like a week. I think he's already back up.
I mean, you better hope so. That God status is about to be removed. He's going to be God of the G League.
Hey, Murray averaging 25 a game in Denver, so.
Wait, what? I'm looking that up. I'm looking that up right now.
There's
a 25 a game.
The original God. The
it might
25 a game, Brett. Come on.
I think it's over like the last month or something like that.
He's averaging 15 a game. 15.
Look over the last month. It's like 23 a game over the last 4 weeks.
He's averaging 18.8 the last 5 games.
Yeah,
I'll look it up over. He's averaging 18.2 in December, and he averaged 14. All right, yeah, okay, Wes.
Oh, fuck you. You gotta add.
He's definitely closer to God status than G League Monk right now. So. He's not. You know. Yeah. Anyway, we don't need to go there. He's definitely better than Skull the bum.
Yeah, he's.
What about? All right, fine. Brad?
I'm finding stats for Murray the God. He's averaging 20.4 points against Atlantic Division opponents.
Wow.
20.5 on 3 days rest.
That's good. He needs that rest.
He's been playing.
He's 22 years old. He needs rest.
Absolutely. Anyways, and Jay, everyone knows that the G stands for God League, so
With the GAWD.
This fight is the thing that's going to make it interesting is how Khabib navigates the distance early on. Because I think we've seen against fighters that actually pose a threat that he doesn't just roll right in and go for takedowns. He'll try and find a somewhat safe way in, because that's where he knows the only threat of him losing is somebody catching him with something big as he tries to go for that initial takedown. Because once he gets a guy down once, he works them over well. He doesn't let his grip up even when they stand up, so that he can keep getting them back down to the ground. But if he takes a long time to navigate that distance against Barbosa, and he's going to do it staying out of punching range because he doesn't want to have anything huge get landed on him. But we could see Barbosa land a few leg kicks on him, and that could make the fight very, very interesting, because I don't care if you train with bears and you're from Siberia and Jay jerks you off every night. All those things are irrelevant if you're a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. So I think that Khabib probably, if he shows up, that is. If he shows up, he probably gets in. He probably gets Barbosa down. But I just want to see how those first couple minutes go before he gets that first takedown. And you're going to know very early on if Barbosa's firing leg kicks and landing. He should come out and he should be doing that from the get-go in this fight. Because Khabib's not a double leg guy. He's a get in tight and get a body lock on you. So I think that Barbosa's leg kicks are fast enough, and that's not really Khabib's style of takedown, that he could probably throw those and have a bit of success with them. And if he does that early, it's going to completely change the complexion of this fight. So Nurmagomedov probably gets it done, but man, I would love to see him just shoot in for a takedown and Barbosa to have liftoff and just destroy his face with a flying knee. That would be glorious, but an unlikely scenario. I think more likely, Barbosa's a tough dude. Khabib, and he's got enough defensive grappling that I think he makes a decision, but Khabib probably beats him up a good chunk in the later rounds in this fight.
Are you saying Khabib's not tough?
No, he's a pussy.
And
he pulled out really with the sniffles. He pulled out of 18 fights with a torn meniscus. Man, he probably gets paper cuts from cutting the grass. See, it doesn't even make sense, but I'm sure it happens to him. Dude's made of fucking tissue paper.
Wow. Boston came back from 26-24 down at halftime to beat Houston. Wow.
Jeez.
Anyway, that's crazy. Wait, what happened? It's junior hockey. You're training on teenagers like yourself.
Wow.
Damn.
Canada beat Slovakia, what, 6-0?
Regional games. We'll see what happens in the medal round.
If you guys make it.
That's cool. Let me talk about. Well, I don't really want to talk. I'll just say Barbosa's a B+ and Nurmagomedov's an A++. Until someone beats him, he will be considered elite. That's how it works. Even though he hasn't fought in a long time, over a year. All it comes down to is can Barbosa catch him while he's still on his feet, and how long will he be on his feet for? These are the key questions in this fight. But once Khabib gets him down, it will happen. The fight's over because Barbosa is a little chicken shit. And he can get beaten up on the mat, and he will get beaten up on the mat in this bout by Khabib. And I don't think he's as resilient as some other fighters in this weight class. I think he can be beat up, and I think it'll be a long road for him. So I think Khabib gets the job done, and the longer the fight goes on, he'll look more and more impressive, just like he did against Michael Johnson. And then the key question is, will we finally get to see this Tony Ferguson fight with Khabib, which to me is much more interesting. Main event time. Brad's favorite, Holly Holm.
Can't wait for all of Holly Holm and her clones. Holly Holmes army to show up.
Oh shit!
Taking on Wes's favorite female fighter,
Wes's favorite male fighter,
the estrogen blocker herself, Chris Cyborg. I'll start with the Sodsman.
Yeah.
Do your pants hit the ceiling when Cyborg fights? Who's got a bigger hog, her or Frankie Edgar?
her Vandalay, right? That's what Dana said. Her Vandalay. Yeah. This is another one where I think the whole Twitter posse is trying to chase kind of the same dog here. Everybody wants to be the one that called the big upset, and I think it's just a little stupid here, honestly. I mean, Holly Holm got tagged up by Shevchenko. She got tagged up by fucking Duranda May. I mean, what makes people think that she's gonna not get tagged up by Cyborg here? And pretty much the argument I've seen is she's some incredible counter striker, and she's gonna sit back and catch Cyborg coming in all crazy. It's like, have you watched a Cyborg fight lately or ever? Like, Cyborg doesn't run across the ring windmilling with her chin up in the air. That's just not how she fights. She's very technical. She knows how to cut off the cage. I just think she's going to get to Holly here. She's going to catch her with something, and Holly's going to drop. I wouldn't be surprised at a Cyborg sub here. I could see her catching Holly with something and get into some ground and pound, maybe grabbing a rear naked or something like that. But I just see Cyborg all day in this fight. Her inside the distance, money line, however you want to play it. I'll be on Cyborg pretty heavy here.
Teenager.
Yeah,
They always have.
I've seen a couple of the fight breakdown guys picking Holly too.
I'm not sure what that means, but okay.
Yeah,
Fetch won at least one round, right?
yeah. I think she took a round, didn't she?
She might have. She probably did. Terrible.
Avenger's decent. Been knocked out cold. She's been knocked out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh. Bradley.
Yeah, this is. I'm not quite sure what the path to victory is for the people who are thinking that Holly Holm's going to win this fight. Like, she's going to bounce around and throw nothing kicks that don't threaten Cyborg at all, and somehow that's going to keep Cyborg off of her. Like, Cyborg, as you said, she's a measured pressure fighter. She's going to come forward, she's going to force Holm back, and if anything, the commentary early in this fight, if it doesn't end quickly, is going to be how, oh, look at Holly running away from Cyborg. Because that's the only chance she has to do anything in this fight at all. So I think that it's just going to be the case where Cyborg is measured with her pressure. She cuts off angles better than people seem to think. And if that fails, she uses hooks to corral her opponent, and then she gets into the clinch where she physically dominates everyone. And I don't think Holm is suddenly the athlete who's going to be able to match her in terms of strength. And even if she does match her with strength, Cyborg has good wrestling technique from the clinch as well. So for some reason, people see her as this physical specimen, which she is for the division and for female fighters. But she's also one of the best technical female fighters in pretty much every area. So I just don't see Holly Holm being the person to have the skill set to be able to counter all of the things that Cyborg does in pretty much every fight. So I see it going kind of the same as all of Cyborg's recent fights, where it might take her a round to get going, but once she gets it into gear, she really starts putting a hurting on her opponent and puts the fight away. So, you know, as Sean said, the fact that you can get Cyborg, I think, inside the distance is still minus 161. That's something that's a phenomenal line, I think, and I'll be looking to put that in something. And even if this fight does go longer, which is probably, you know, people will be saying that Cyborg's going to fade or something like that. I've seen her in kickboxing fights against the best kickboxers in the world, and she's gone 5 rounds. We've seen her go deep in MMA fights, you know, and she's got a very physical style, and she doesn't really slow down at all. So I don't think that's a path to victory, especially with as little as Holly Holm likes to throw either. So definitely like Cyborg in this fight, and I think you gotta prefer her in the distance.
Yeah, I got Holly Holm an A-, Cyborg an A++. I think early on, you know, this could be fairly competitive. You know, Holly is one of the best in the sport at generally maintaining range, and you know, she's a fairly, she's very good at from when she's able to do that. But Cyborg is going to push forward, going to be the aggressor. The one thing I think Cyborg has to be wary of is the head kick. That is Holly's most dangerous weapon, and considering that Holly was a world boxing champion, it's kind of a surprise in my opinion that her most dangerous weapon is the kick. You know, she obviously has a couple well-known knockouts via head kick, and when Cyborg does throw her hook, she does kind of dip her head, and that kind of leaves herself a little bit vulnerable. That's really the only opening I see for Holly Holm to win this fight, is to land like kind of a head kick on that counter and to do it, to win. But as the fight goes on, I think Holly Holm's going to get beat up. The longer the fight goes, it plays into Cyborg's advantage. I don't think Holly can take the kind of damage, capable of maybe say like what Evanger took, and survive. So I really like Cyborg here to win, inside the distance, probably by knockout. I think that's definitely the most likely result. And it's a play that I recommend, you know, just under, minus 150. And I believe, Nushan, that's our bet of the week. Chris Cyborg inside the distance. What is that line currently? Minus 161 now, eh? I know we were talking about earlier, but it jumped up a bit.
It's worth the juice.
The juice.
It is
So
worth
there it is. The 5dimes.edu. 5dimes.edu.
Ooh, 5 Dimes University.
Yeah.
We're not charging. We're not charging you $50 for a minus 500. You know,
we're not charging you for lifetimes either. You know, just one event, 1 week, one lifetime. 5dimes.eu consensus bet of the week is Chris Cyborg inside the distance at again, new Sean, read the line number. Minus 161. And that covers it. That is the last fight of 2017, I believe. I don't think there are any MMA cards on New Year's Eve, the Sunday. So I believe that will be the last.
Risen
sorry.
Day 2.
Day 2 or Day 3? Is there a third day this year?
You get some crow
Only 2.
Is there anything else? Do you guys want to? Is there anything in Ryzen worth discussing?
Crow Cop against TK.
Ooh.
Gomi's back. Oh, I love juiced up Crow Cop.
The gooch.
Yo, this Japanese kid, Tenshin.
Yeah.
Tenshin.
Yeah.
I got some in my back right now.
He's
actually,
good.
I went to the chiropractor earlier today. He had nothing to make an adjustment on. My spine is perfect.
It's impeccable.
Yeah.
Do you see there's some guy named, do you see Ken Watanabe is now an MMA fighter? Like, what is that about?
Sounds about right. I think he's always been, hasn't he?
Brad must be a switch hitter.
They're pretty damn good actor.
Wait, what happened?
Brad's got to be a switch hitter if his back's still perfectly aligned.
you got Wes. You got to knock it out and they get it knocked back in. You know.
Kunimoto's a favorite over somebody in 2017.
Something called
Cindy
Satoru
Danforth
Kinoka.
on this. Cindy
That dude
Danforth
used to leg
fighter?
lock the shit out of people back in the Sengoku days.
Mm-hmm.
It works in Japan.
Yep.
Yo, have you guys seen this? Have you seen this chick on the second night of the Risen card?
Should we?
Shinju Nozawa Auclair.
No,
Damn.
but should we?
Yes, you should.
What's her name? Who is she saying?
Shinju Nozawa. Who is she facing? I don't fucking know. Probably like the worst fighter they could find because she's hot and they want her to win.
Oh, there we are. Oh.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Okay.
Ah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Especially if you got the fever. America.
Yeah.
What's her record? Do we know?
1-0. Yep.
She's facing some freak with. Is this the same card? Oh, it is. Oh, this girl is ugly.
Oh, this the girl that she
this
faced.
girl was ugly.
I'm
They
just
fought
looking
as-
through.
They fought as amateurs, and she lost for a disqualification by kick. So I don't know if it was like a kick to a downed opponent or if kicks were illegal because it was amateurs. But there's real backstory here. You gotta tune in. You gotta tune in to find out. Winner takes on Gabby Garcia.
Yes. Can't wait. Yes, that would probably be a good idea if you're still gotten through our drivel this week. We are accepting signups for the 2018 Toutmaster. 2017 winner will be awarded, I guess, probably Sunday. By the time the fight ends, the winner will receive $4,000. Pretty sizable number, and it does pay down to 15, at least in 2017. The number of entrants will determine how many folks will be paid out in 2018, as well as the total prize pool. We are, over 40 signups for 2017, or rather for 2018, with about a week and a half left to sign up. I expect a bunch more will sign up after Saturday's event.
Everyone's going to sign up at the last minute, of course.
Yeah, and that's always that's what they do. Rolling over, all that fun stuff. But we've already got I think about 15 of the signups so far are new, which is cool. Always like new signups. And it's a fun event. Jerry Super Sartre on the Twitter.
He says it worse than I do.
A bet's a bet, man. A bet's a bet. We kind of oversee the contest. And it's a pretty fun time. Definitely a different take on a traditional MMA pick'em pool. And it's a fun kind of a community game. So, you can get to kind of know people in the contest and, all that fun stuff. So, please do sign up. Tweet me, at JPrimetown if you, want more details, or, you can also reach out to our, MMA Analysis Twitter handle and, you can get, feedback there as well. And that just about does it. Kind of sad to see Brad go again because it feels like we were rocking and rolling this episode. But it seems like he'll be on hiatus. But maybe he'll join next week for our year-end review show where we'll kind of laugh about some of the dumb things we thought about at the beginning of 2017. And then make even worse predictions for 2018. I think Wes's Nagano pick is going to be about 2 weeks early, so 2 weeks late.
Almost got it.
Yeah, you almost did, you guys.
He's still got to win though. So it's not an easy fight.
No, it's not. I think my Valentina Shevchenko pick got robbed. I think that's what I had, but yeah. Anyway,
what kind of ridiculous line am I going to be able to get on Stipe?
I'm going to say plus 180.
I'm hoping it gets closer when the fight rolls around. Is what I'm hoping.
What is it now?
155 right now.
I'm saying plus 180.
I think it gets up to plus 200.
Yeah, that's what I think.
People going to go crazy.
Yeah,
they're gonna go crazy. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh, Wes certainly does.
I already got some money on him. I'll probably buy out a little bit because I'll probably end up having quite a bit of money on the whole.
I see that Frank Mir's a less than a 2-1 favorite over against Fedor.
Whoever lands.
I don't care at all. I really don't.
I mean, who does? Mm-hmm. I do see Khabib's a 2.5 to 1 favorite over Conor in a future event, but we know that fight's never happening.
Yeah, if Khabib gets to be the champion, that will just further cement the fact that Conor's never coming back to MMA.
Oscar De La Hoya is favored over Conor.
Did we lose somebody? So I'm just looking at these future odds. So
did you see
Tyron Woodley is minus 165 over Conor, yet Khabib is minus 260. Interesting. I know. There's all these future events. How much money are they sitting with?
The most realistic one, Chael Sonnen, Chuck Liddell.
That actually exists? There is a line. Yep. Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Chael. Wow.
Hey, man.
Chuck can sprawl
and brawl his way to victory in that one.
Wow. That is different. We do have John Jones, Brock Lesnar. That's got to be pretty unrealistic at this point, too.
Yeah, well, I guess it depends how Brock's next WWE contract negotiation goes.
And it
all depends what happens
if John Jones is legally allowed to return to fighting.
Or maybe John Jones just goes to WWE. Do you think they'll count that?
I don't know. I want to know. I wonder what Tony would say about that. But they fought.
Yeah.
No one said it had to be in mixed martial arts. Anyway,
whoever does say that.
I don't know. I almost want to look that up, but I'm not going to. With that, I think we lost the Sodsman. I think the sprinkler
Kentucky
system,
Wesleyan is gone.
I think the sprinkler system must have turned on or something, and Wes had to cut out. No, it's got to keep that. Even though it's like 25 degrees, you got to keep that. That grass, that Kentucky bluegrass, finally manicured and all.
Yeah.
And with that, have a great New Year, everybody, and we'll be back next week with our end of year /2018 prediction show. Have a good night.